Hey guys, Nick here and welcome back to another video. In this video it's gonna be similar to our last video, and it is going to be looking at some of the redstone projects I have been working on. And as you can see here, we're in my little redstone world. You can see that's our previous contraption that we took a look in our previous video. But right after that video I decided to work on a rather useless contraption again, but I think it's still cool nonetheless. Now what I got here is it's a iron golem factory. Well, you guys, people know that you can just make an iron golem by placing 4 iron blocks and a pumpkin on the top of it. But I decided to automate the process by having pistons rearrange the blocks in a T shape and dispense pumpkins on it, which turns them into iron golems. And I feel like that would be a cool project to work on, despite being quite useless. And why would anyone want to build it? I don't get it. But now let me show you guys how this works. And to do that, I would need to turn off shaders. I only turn on shaders for intros because shaders can make things too dark in certain areas of the building. So yeah. I should also mention that recently I got a second monitor for my setup ever since I moved into a new house. By the way guys, this is the monitor. I got this new one. In some of my last videos, you see in my social media tweets, you can see that in the past I have a second monitor as well. That monitor is those like really old Samsung TVs. They look like a TV, it's really thick, and it actually didn't belong to me. It actually belongs to the house I rented in. And now that we're in a new house and I don't have that monitor anymore. This one doesn't actually belong to the house. This belongs to us. And this is an HP VH240A, in case if you guys are wondering. And what I use it for when I'm recording gaming videos like this, I have the OBS, which is my recording software, on the second screen, so that I can see whether my audio is functioning well. You can see that the audio meter is going up because my microphone is here. Please pardon my messy desk. I haven't been cleaning it up. And I can also see whether the previews are going in, the video feed is going into it's going down to the computer. I have my computer down in a small cabinet. Look at that cable management though. It's not that good, but I hide them. So yeah, this is just what my setup looks like. I might do a setup video soon, but back to the video. So you can see that there is the key and you have to take one. In this case, I already have a stack of them, and this is the entrance for players, and this is the exit for golems, because they are not able to come back because I don't want them to. They'll be crowding the area. Anyway, let's begin. So there's 2 entrances. One is the loading bay, which is a double door, and another one is a factory entrance. So I guess we should start with this one as it's the closest to us. You just toss one in here, it'll open up, and as you can see right underneath here there's a dropper. So as soon as you're walking by, it will dispense the key that you have just thrown in, and you get your keys back. This is the activate factory key, and I will get into that shortly. So this is the observation room, aka the control room. So if you just like flip open this trap door, you're in the central control station, which is or the central control room, which is really small because I'm trying to keep this factory within a dimension of 32 by 32 blocks, so I can copy it and paste it in another world so you guys can download it, and we'll talk about that shortly. So this is also the same button. It's connected to the activate factory. The reason why I have 2 of them is just in case if you need to quickly activate the factory, you can just do it without going into the control room. So this is essentially the auxiliary factory button, and this is the one someone will be sitting here, just pressing the button and stuff. Yeah, let me explain you how everything works. So this is the lever that activates autopilot. So this creates a golem for every 4 minutes, which is cool. Now let's continue the tour here. Up on the ladder, you can see there is a sign that says this goes down to control room. You get to see a view of what all the golems are doing, because I don't know why. And this is the loading bay, which leads you to a long corridor / hallway, and here's the sleeping or resting room. You just sleep here because I'm trying to create a little militaristic atmosphere with this build. And you get 2 double chests, which isn't a lot, and you got a music disc player, a jukebox, a cartography table, all the workstations you need to run the place. Same got bell. And yeah, this is the loading bay, and this is where you load your iron blocks. Well, if you walk this way, like this, you can see that we walk out of the double doors. Is because I decided to create 2 entrances. This is the faster way. If you're just going to the loading bay, you don't have to walk through all of this thing. You can just walk through a single corridor. And yeah, this one is similar. Instead, it already has an automatic dropper that just drops out in front of you, so you can collect your keys. So yeah, and these keys, they're specific, so people cannot just throw in a iron nugget. And I just threw on a bunch of enchantments. In this case, protection 4, sharpness 5, and death strider 1. And it's impossible to enchant stuff like the iron nugget in survival mode, so I chose that. Now we're back at the loading bay here. So how you operate the place, you just grab some blocks of iron. I placed some instructions here. You basically have to place 4 iron blocks from the piston that is facing upwards to the observer. So in this case, we just place the iron blocks as such. And as you can see here, this piston just pushes right in front of our face because, well, we're basically placing the iron blocks linearly, and we need to have a feeding mechanism. So in this case, the piston pushes forward. So when this contraption is building the golem, we need to have a piston that's actually pushing the thing forward so the machine can work on. And that is arguably one of the most complex things I've worked on. It's like a pain in the backside to create a proper feeding mechanism that doesn't get clogged up. Now to activate the machine, you can either go back to the control room and press this button, or you can go ahead and press the button below it. Now in this case, we're gonna go ahead and press the button on the top, and I'm gonna break this glass temporarily just to show you how it was built. So as you can see here, the golem was created and it was placed right behind the bars. And you guys might be wondering, that is definitely a command block that teleported the golem over there. Now that wasn't used in the process of making the iron golem. I only use it so I can relocate these golems out of the building chamber, because the building chamber must be kept vacant at all times. So that's really cool. Let me explain this autopilot thing that creates a golem every 4 minutes. Now everyone knows it's impossible to place blocks with dispensers, so how does that work? Now that also took advantage of command blocks, but you have to do something for the command block to actually place 4 iron blocks there. Now let's go ahead and check that out. It's through this corridor right over here. Let me just fly through. Basically, you have to place 4 iron blocks here. Now in fact, there's actually already a storage of iron blocks down here already, and it just pulls one out. So when you flick the lever from the control room, it'll basically enable this automatic function. It will start taking 4 iron blocks out of this chest every 4 minutes. And yeah, and you basically just drop your iron blocks in here whenever you like. And if you decide to throw something that is not an iron block, for example dirt blocks, it will be instantly removed out of the system through these hoppers, and it'll go into this dropper and it'll be dispensed in lava. So do not throw your diamonds on the slab over here, or else you lose them. So yeah, this is done with a simple item filter over here. It only accepts iron blocks of iron in this case, and this is how I do it. I just go ahead and like do this, and as such, it's all completed. So I've created the item filter. Alright, so how does the 4-minute timer work? Because you don't see a large array of repeaters. So in this case, how it works is I have an etho clock, which is actually a very popular form of hopper clock in the redstone community. Basically, you have several stacks of a certain item, and they'll be shifted across from one another. In this case, I filled 5 slots of the item filter, so by the time one goes to the other and when the other one goes back, it'll take around 4 minutes, which is pretty accurate, I'd say. And these redstone clocks you see here, it's not really used in the contraption, it's just for updating the pistons because they get bugged very easily. In this case, I have 2 of them. So yeah, so every time when this redstone block shifts to this position over here, you can see that this repeater sends a short pulse and through this redstone torch tower, and it goes through this I think it's called a, I still don't know what the name is again, but it'll send a pulse through this thing, and this little contraption over here will convert it to a single tick, and this 4-tick repeater extends it again. So yeah, and the lever that you see that you have saw in the control room basically controls this. It's basically wireless redstone because it's so cramped. If you go to spectator mode, you can see that this entire building is cramped with redstone, and yeah, and every time when you flick the lever, it will basically push this block up, so it will enable redstone connection through all this. This is just a simple pulse extender, and which basically extends the pulse so that this hopper takes 4 iron blocks out of the system, and again it will move the iron block somewhere. I don't want to tell you guys that. In exchange for that pulse, there's gonna be iron blocks placed down in the system, and the second command block just activates the factory. Normally you wouldn't have this function if you're building this in survival mode, but if you take this function out of your equation, it's possible to build this in survival mode, except it's going to be really resource intensive, so keep in mind with that. Now I guess it's time for me to talk about how the whole thing worked. Now as soon as you place the 4th block that is on top of the observer, this observer just happens to be hooked up into some redstone that basically pushes this T flip-flop circuit. It pushes this redstone block into the 2nd position, and by doing so, it'll basically close this piston in front of you. There's a 2nd piston right over here. We'll push it right in front of you and act as a temporary feeding circuit. Now it will not activate until you have pressed either one of the buttons that's either in the control room or downstairs. Now after you've pressed the button, how it actually functions is the first thing it will do is this piston that's facing upwards will extend, and after this piston will then drop down, and this piston over here will push it to the side to basically form this. It will basically move the block to this position, and afterwards this feeding mechanism that you see at the front piston that you see, it will push it, it will extend to move the blocks forward, and after this piston extends again, and this sticky piston extends and then retracts, which basically pushes the iron block into this position. After this, as you can see, we don't have sand or anything to continue pushing, so we have a 2nd feeding mechanism right over here. It's not really visible because the redstone is extremely dense, but through here you can see there's a 2nd feeding mechanism, which is similar to the first one that you see that's right over here. Right. So this extends the 2nd feeding circuit, and it also extends the piston, so it pushes the block over here again, and this time this piston right over here pushes it up. So this piston has been doing a lot of work for almost every single placement and rearrangement of blocks. Now we only have 1 block left before creating the iron golem, and at this point there's 1 block, and the block is there. So There's no way that I can create another one because there's absolutely no space for me left. Look at how dense this redstone circuit is. So I decided to, think out of the box, and I have moved the feeding circuit over here. So it'll basically pop out of the ground, it'll extend, push the block forward right in front of it, and it will retract, hiding the piston back into the ground, and basically it'll create a structure that looks like this, which is the T-pose that is required to create an iron golem. Now, immediately after that, all 4 of these sticky pistons will extend and retract all 4 of these iron blocks onto their surface. So let me just do that real quick. And about like several ticks after that, this dispenser will fire, which, if you guys didn't know, it is possible to place the pumpkin block on a incomplete iron golem T-pose structure and create an iron golem. So let me quickly do that. So guys, I have to move out of the factory because there is so many redstone that it's basically interfering with one another. So let me do this demonstration real quick. It's possible to go ahead and dispense a carved pumpkin on an iron structure that is doing a T-pose to create an iron golem. As such, as you can see here, it created an iron golem, which makes it extremely useful in the creation of my factory, or else that would not be possible, or I just needed to require to have like an entire feed tape of carved pumpkins. But as you can see, but as everyone knows, that carved pumpkins, they get destroyed if a piston pushes at them. So now you get the point, and an iron golem is created and such, and the command blocks will open up this little gate here and teleport the iron golem just a couple blocks forward, so he will be out of the building chamber, which is the most vital part of the entire building, as the entire building is actually built around this contraption, and there isn't really any other contraptions in the building other than this. So yeah, now after this, these iron golems, they are out of the building chamber. They're essentially in this short corridor right over here, and they have taken quite a few damage from suffocation because this is so dense and stuff. So once they decide to move out and fight the monsters of the wild, they will go ahead and walk out and stand on these pressure plates like this, and these dispensers will dispense some potion of healing, that is potion of healing 2, and this guy apparently wants some extra instant healing or something. Yeah, but the iron golems, they will wander around the vicinity of this factory. Eventually they'll decide to walk out, just like these fellows. They decide to walk out and be free and all that, and to fight the monsters. So yeah, I cannot really force these iron golems to walk out, or else that would be extremely weird. So I'll just let them go at their own pace. But in this case, this guy just really wants to stay at the factory that created him. Let me go ahead and re-demonstrate that. This time I don't want to go to loading chamber because I'm too lazy and stuff. So you place 4 iron blocks. It looks like this, and let me just stand here. So as you can see, the iron golem got teleported. I kind of got pushed down when these pistons extend, but you get the point. I can just go ahead and run this contraption again, but this time without any iron blocks, so you can see what the feeding mechanism looks like. So that's what it looks like. In this case, this piston gets extended, and it's not meant to be like that when there's no iron blocks, but you don't have to worry about that. When there's iron blocks and it's working, look at what happens. It gets put back in place. Just like that. That's how they work, and yeah, that's pretty much what the factory has to offer. this is arguably one of my most ambitious projects. In fact, I showed this to my sister and she's like, this is the most useless contraption I have ever seen. This basically is, I spent an entire day building something that someone can just go ahead and build in like 10 seconds or something, like 5 seconds. I don't have the pumpkin, I'm sorry. Alright, so yeah, you guys might be wondering about these. It's a take one. It is, of course, because I made this world available to you guys on Planet Minecraft, so you guys will be able to download it. And also, as a bonus, because this structure over here is structure block friendly, I will provide a .mbt file, which is a structure block file, for this entire building, so you can place it anywhere in your world instead of the one that is provided in this one. Now, the reason why I always make sure that all my redstone projects are redstone friendly, no, not redstone friendly, structure block friendly, is because, well, before I place I don't build redstone projects, I don't build redstone contraptions in a world of its own, because I rather build them in a place where it all should be, which is kind of like organizing and stuff. So, and by the time I think that this specific redstone contraption is ready to be downloaded by everyone else, I would go ahead and copy them and paste them in a separate world, which is like the overworld with all the trees and stuff. And let's go take a look. So this is the world that will come with your download, that you will get to download on Planet Minecraft. This is basically just a simple infinite world, but with the structure placed in it. It is as simple as that. So when you guys get the structure block file though, when you place it in your world, there will be like a little sandstone outline of the building, is because I built this in a desert-ish redstone testing world. So that means you're gonna have to remove that and replace it with the block that fits your world, which is unfortunate, but I can't really fix it. And it is because that structure blocks only save in like cubes. So unfortunately, in this world, it seems like the item frames didn't survive the transition. So I'm gonna go ahead and, oh my god, there's a creeper. I'm just gonna go ahead and place these back, so you guys will be able to have access to the factory. And yeah, and I feel like this is going to be really cool and stuff. It's kind of like, I kind of built this factory in like a militaristic base style, because I feel like I like to picture that this base was built during a zombie apocalypse, and you're the only survivor. You kind of have to like build iron golems to fight off the monsters and stuff. So I feel like to give this contraption a decent outer shell, as I like to call it, because this outer shell, this building is actually built around the contraption itself. I feel like this kind of fits the theme that I'm going for. And yeah, if you guys want to take a look at the redstone, of course I have windows on the top that shows off some of the redstone. And in fact, there's also some windows in the corridor that shows off a part of the redstone. That's pretty much like 1/3 of the entire redstone contraption, because there's of course more underground, like wiring, like snaking all over the place, and there's even more that goes like right above the little garage thing. And yeah, it's been a lot of work. It took me about a day to build it, unlike that 7-segment display that took me like 2 or 3 days to build. Yeah, don't worry guys, I'll be working on more of these redstone projects, and I hope you guys like them. So yeah, I guess that's gonna be ending the video for today. Thanks guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and remember to hit the bell notification button. That shows me that you like the type of content I'm creating here, which in my case right here is experimental redstone videos and some other games. So I don't really know how to end this video, but yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.